We have discussed different types of operating systems. In that, the batch operating system, multiprocessor operating system, time sharing operating system, personal operating system. Like based on the behavior, we just try to categorize various operating systems. Okay. Now let us continue the remaining types of operating systems. Okay. So as the real-time operating system, or real-time OS, which is an important and a different type of OS which we are using in our day-to-day life. Okay, so what exactly the real-time operating system? What are the constraints for it? Let us see. So real-time systems are used when there are rigid time requirements on the operation of a processor or the flow of data, and real-time systems can be used as a control device in a dedicated application. So what I mean to say is, you might have heard about embedded systems. Embedded system. Say, for example, your mobile phone is an embedded system where the operating system is automatically run without any human intervention. That means you need not physically start it. And some other application where we are using this real-time operating system is, of course, why I'm telling your mobile phone as an embedded system, it is a one kind of embedded system. Like that, we'll have several types of embedded systems. Some of the cases which we are using this real-time operating system. For example, if you think about an application like underground gas flow, underground gas pipeline. Okay, so the gas frequently you might have read the news regarding somewhere the pipe has leaked, a blowout has occurred, right? So this kind of usually in East Godavari we may have experienced two or three cases of failure of this underground gas pipelines. Okay, now here this the thing which you are supposed to observe is it was started at a point. I mean, the gas production has started at Yanam, and the gas is transferred through pipeline from Yanam to say, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, like different states. Here, continuously, some system has to monitor the temperature level of the gas when it is while it is in the transmission, because if the temperature gets high, automatically it is going to be blast the pipeline. So in order to avoid such kind of situations, what they are maintaining is continuously they are measuring the temperature of the gas when it is in the pipe. Okay, so continuously they have to capture the temperature, not only temperature, some other parameters which are essential for the analysis. They will capture it and they will analyze it. If they found any abnormal difference between the previous readings and the current readings, immediately a certain alarm system is present in it, and automatically it passes a signal to the concerned authorities. Something went wrong. You go and immediately resolve that issue. Like that, because it is not possible to supervise a human being, you can reside in the pipeline to measure the temperature and all other fields. Okay, so you need to establish a device or a system which can do all these things. Hope you are all try to understand what I am saying, right? So in the gas pipeline itself, the gas is flowing from one place to another place. Okay, so during that transmission, we need to set up certain device. What is the job of the device? Simply it captures the some parameters from the gas, and immediately it will perform certain analysis on the parameters which it captured, and if it found any abnormal difference that exists between the parameters, immediately it will do something like that. We have to write a program. Okay, so this is one example where we are using the real-time operating system. Similarly, for the military applications. Okay, so here the job of this real-time operating system is it should have well-defined fixed time constraints. Otherwise, the system will fail. That means all the analysis parameters you should define well in advance, so the system will work according to that. If you did not define proper way, what kind of parameters that it need to be captured, what way it is supposed to be analyzed. So these things, if you are not defined properly, what happens in that case? If there is no such kind of mechanism is available, what happens? If everything is went well, okay, fine. When something went wrong, automatically it leads to the great disaster. Okay, so that is real-time operating system. So there are two types of real-time operating system. One is hard real-time systems, and another one is soft real-time systems. Hard real-time systems guarantee that the critical tasks complete on time. So the systems which implement to complete the task within the stipulated time, then such kind of systems are called as hard real-time operating systems. So in these hard real-time systems, the secondary storage is very limited, or sometimes there is no secondary storage area. Everything is working on primary only. Okay, so that is ROM itself only. When coming to the soft real-time systems, they are less in restrictive nature. The critical real-time tasks get a priority over other tasks. That means it is also be considered as a normal task which was assigned with a high priority rather than executing only the critical tasks. Whereas you might have heard about the word hard coding. So there what we'll do, we'll fix everything. For example, simple example which you are supposed to know. If you write a printf statement, hi, printf, within the brackets if you write hi. So whatever the number of times that you have executed, it display only hi. So that means each and every time when we are executing, it produces the same output. That kind of situation is called as hard coding. So in the hard real-time system also, only the critical tasks are gets executed because there is no separate secondary storage for doing other activities. So that's why within the stipulated time, the task can be completed. Whereas in the soft real-time systems, some other tasks are also be executed along with these critical tasks. Okay, whenever the critical task has occurred, immediately it was assigned with a high priority, so that the system can understand we need to be finished it before, immediately after receiving that. So that is the reason here there is no specific deadlines. Sometimes because whenever at the time which it occurs, probably the processor may be busy with some other task. So once it was completed, immediately it will take up the next one. So while initiating the execution of the next job, it gives the priority to the critical task. So in such a way, the soft real-time systems will work. Okay. Now, this is about the different types of operating systems. Now let us move to the operating system services. What are the services that it provides? Okay. So here, the first one is the program execution. The program execution. Say, for example, how your C program is going to be executed, or your Word document is going to be processed, or your Excel document, how it will be opened and how it was processed, right? So process includes the complete execution context. That means code to execute, data to manipulate, registers, OS resources in usage. That means all the things that are essential for completing your task. Here we'll call it as a process. Okay. So the major activities of this operating system with respect to the program management is, what is the first step? It need to loads the program into memory, right? Then only, because the contents which are present in the primary memory gets executed by the processor. So before going to execute any task, one should be loaded into the primary memory. Okay, so that is the reason the first step is loads a program into memory. The second one is executes the program. Once it was loaded, then it starts the execution process. Okay, and during this execution, different resources are required. So all things will be supervised by the operating system itself. Okay, and it provides a mechanism for process synchronization, process communication, deadlock handling as one of the fundamental responsibility of the operating system, which we have discussed, is synchronization. Okay, so these three are handled during the execution of the program. Okay, so your program must be able to end its execution either normally or abnormally. Sometimes your program may be executed in a smooth way, sometimes automatically terminated. We don't know what is happening with that, right? So that kind of situation is called as abnormal, right? Hope you are all clear with this. So program execution. And now IO operation, as I told you in the previous class, IO time and CPU time. Okay, so IO operation during for the execution, successful execution, or for execution of the your program, you may need the services of the IO device. For example, if you want to read the input, you need the services of input device. You want to display something on the screen, so you need the services of output device. So like that, we need to have the services of IO device. So operating system manages the communication between user and the device. Okay, so IO operation means read or write operation with any file or any specific IO device. Sorry for the interruption. Now, is it audible to everyone? Both audible and visible to you? Because it was disconnected and reconnected automatically. This is what we are called as abnormal termination, right? Is it visible to you now? Okay, okay. All right. So, the reading the data or writing the data is called as IO operation. So, operating system provides the access to the required IO device when it required. Okay. So, suppose, as I told you, if you are executing your C program, whenever if a scanf statement is appeared in your program, what happens? Immediately, that a particular instruction is meant for reading the data from keyboard, right? So that means in order to execute that statement, your processor passes some information to the operating system, like in order to execute this particular statement, we need the services of input device. So immediately it passes the control signal to the input device. You please help the programmer to enter the data like that. Not exactly like that. Just in such a way, it passes information to the input device. Then only it allows us to use it. Okay. The next, the file system manipulation. File system. What is meant by file system? Simply, a file system is nothing but which contains a set of files, and they were organized into directories for easy navigation. Suppose if you keep all your files in your system in your desktop, it is very difficult for us to find out a particular file where it is present in it. So instead of that, you can keep it in different drives. So you can keep some files in D drive, you can keep some files in E drive, and you can put a relevant name to the folder on which you can place all the related files into it. Like that, if you split it into a directories, what happens in that case? Whenever, if you want to open any file, you just think about what kind of file it is, which is related to result analysis. So immediately I look at into the folder with the name result analysis. If I double click on it, automatically whatever the files that I was placed previously are visible to me, so that I can access a required file. Instead of that, if you place all the result analysis files in your desktop, probably it takes some time to find out where what exactly the required file. Okay, so in such a way, the file system is organized for the EUG navigation and usages. Okay, so these directories may contain files or maybe subfolders, right? Subdirectories. So the major activities of this operating system with respect to the file management is program needs to read a file or write a file, right? For every execution of it, we need to have or we need to read some data somewhere, either from the keyboard or from some other file like that. Okay. So, and another one is the operating system gives the permission to the program for operation on file. Suppose you want to append, you have opened your Word document, which is having some content. So now you want to add something to it. Now you want to add another paragraph to your Word document. What we have to do? So the file has opened. When we are typing something on it, automatically it need to be. So once if you save on it, click on the save button, it need to be stored into the secondary storage area. But previously we have 20 bytes of data. And after adding the new content, it becomes 30 bytes. Let us assume that. Okay. Previously, before adding the new data, the size of that file is 20 bytes. After adding the data, it becomes 30 bytes. So that space need to be reserved for this file or not? Who will do it? So the operating system will help in that aspect. Like that, in all the operations, whatever you perform on the files, for all these things, we need to get some permission from the OS. Similarly, permission varies from read-only, read-write, denied, and so on. There are so many, as you studied in files concept in C language and C++ or other programming languages, where we'll perform various operations on the files by using our programming language, right? There you might have studied about how do we open a file, whether it is in read mode or write mode or appending mode. Based on that, it will allow you to perform the operations on it. Suppose if you open a file in read mode, okay, after that you try to modify it or you want to add something to it. What happens in that case? It raises an error message. You have opened this file for read-only mode, but you try to modify it, so it's not possible for it. In such a way, it gives some error messages, right? So similarly, write operation, append operation, right? And operating system provides an interface to the user to create or delete files or directories, right? So whenever if you enter here, why we are calling it as an interface means when you are creating a new file, it's not so easy because as far as concerned with the user, simply you right click on it on the desktop and open a file, create a new Word document. Automatically it was appeared on your desktop. But internally what happens? The operating system try to allocate the memory space where it is available in the storage area. And whenever if you are specifying a name to it, automatically that need to be updated in the file allocation table. These all things are happened in the background. Okay. Similarly, when we are deleting a file, you just simply right click on it to delete the file. Automatically it was deleted. But internally, how it is, what happens? Deletion means the content or the entry of this particular file in the file allocation table is going to be deleted. So that what happens? The content is present in the secondary storage area in the same way, but the reference or the access point or the path which we try to identify where it is available, that entry is going to be deleted. That means the physical storage area and this reference table, whatever the connection between these two is going to be disconnected. Hope you are all clear with this point or not. So that for the next time, if you try to access the same, as I told you, always, whenever if you try to search for a particular file, always the operating system will perform this search operation on the file allocation table, which contains the information regarding all the files which are stored in your system itself. So previously you have deleted one, now you want to search for the same, it look it in the file allocation table, there is no entry with that name. So immediately the file does not exist, that kind of error message probably it may generate. All of you understand or not? So what happens internally? Once it was deleted in the file allocation table, but the physical content which you have stored in the storage area remains the same. But treating for the next time, operating system treats that this particular storage area is free. So whenever if you try to create a new file, probably the operating system may allocates the previous file storage area for the new file. So that when you try something, automatically it gets overridden. I think you understood this particular point or not. Yeah, please tell me whether you understood it or not. Otherwise, I'll tell you another example. Because this is very important in terms of file management. How a creation and deletion of the file is happening in operating system point of view. So this point is clear to you or not? Any one of you? Okay, thank you. Right. And another, still if you have anybody is having any query, you can drop a message in it, in the chat box. So that we'll discuss once again at the end of this class. Okay? All right. So the next one is the communication. Communication. The operating system handles routing and connection strategies. Oh, okay. I'll repeat once again. Okay. Right. No problem. All right. What I mean to say is, you have experience with gates, right? And gate. If you give two inputs, it will produce one output, right? For example, if you give two inputs are high, 1, 1. What is the expected output? 1 itself. If both the inputs are high, then the output is high, right? In that scenario, unless if you change the input, the output won't be changed. That means whenever if you change the input, for example, among two inputs, if you change one input as 0, then output will become 0. Okay. So unless until you did modification on the inputs, the output remains same. That means why I'm telling all these things is flip-flops you might have studied in digital logics, which is used to represent one bit of data in memory. Flip-flop, RS flip-flop or JK flip-flop, whatever it may be, master slave, whatever it may be, right? So internally, the memory is constructed with a set of flip-flops. One flip-flop is capable of holding one bit of data, right? When you change the inputs, then only the output will be changed. Okay. So in a similar way, when we are deleting a file from the, if you want to delete a file, what happens internally is simply the name and the address where it was stored was deleted in the file allocation table. Okay. Next time, when you want to search, usually whenever if you try to open an existing file, what happens is whatever the name that you have typed, for example, let me show you. See, so are you able to view my desktop? Suppose if I click on here something, oh yes. So you just observe here OS unit 1. All of you able to view this or not? Is it visible to you? Make it fast, Papa. Give your response. Is it visible to you? Because I'm unable to see whether you are able to see it or not. Okay. If it is physical class, so that I can understand. But here it is not. That is the reason why I'm asking number of times, is it visible to you or audible to you? So whenever if I ask like that, you just immediately give the response. Okay. Right. Fine. So here, if I type OS, automatically in the search, so here you can observe, this is the PowerPoint presentation file. Okay. And which is, you can observe the location where it was. So whenever if I type all these things, whatever the characters that I was typed, immediately what happens? Operating system in the background, it will look for the file allocation table. To look for the file allocation table with the words which you have typed here itself. That means OS unit 1. So these things are with these alphabets, you try to look it into the table. Okay. So if it found, so yeah, these are the words, this is the file which it found. So that is the reason it shows for us. Okay. Suppose if I delete it, so I'll show you. I'll delete one file from this. Okay. So here you can observe, this is the file RM and IPR MTech. Let me type RM and so RM and IPR mid-1 question paper. Okay. So first time when I searched for it, RM and PR, automatically it was displayed here. Suppose if I delete it, no problem. I have another copy of it. Okay. Now I was deleted. If I type RM, okay, mid-1, actually two different names are exist with this one. Actually, we want MTech paper, RM and IPR, MTech, M dot. If you type it, whatever because why it was displayed is up to this part, this particular file has matched. So that's why it was displayed. Okay, but when I'm typing continuously by adding mtech or something like that, there is no such file is available. Okay, so that is the reason. So here you can observe again. I'll try to restore, which is present in the recycle bin. Now you can see what is it? What is the name of this file? mtech rm and ipr underscore mtech underscore mid1, like that, the name of this file, right? So that is the reason. Suppose if I, what happens in this case, if I was deleted, automatically. So here deletion means, what I'm going to explain right now is, deletion means, okay, simply the entry of this file name in the file allocation table is deleted, not the contents are deleted actually internally. This is internal process, okay? So that is the reason it is also possible whenever if you delete a file continuously by tracking sectors, tracks, so that you may find, okay? But once the operating system is allocated the same storage area to other file, it is not possible to trace out. Okay, so that is what I mean to say, or creation and deletion of files or directories. Hope you are all clear with this point right now. Okay, all right. Is it clear? Somebody has a doubt in this. Now, is it clear? So this is the problem with the. Okay, thank you. Now coming to the communication. So the OS handles the routing and connection strategies and the problems of connection and security. You might have heard about networking. In our college laboratory, all the systems are connected on the LAN, local area network. Okay, that means you can transfer the data from one system to another system using network itself. Okay, so in that case, if it is the scenario, the major activities of an operating system with respect to the communication is two processes often require data to be transferred between them. Okay, so both the process can be on one computer or on different computers, but are connected through a computer networks. Okay, communication may be implemented by two methods, either by shared memory or message passing. So we will detail, elaborately study about this process to process communication or inter-process communication in the coming units in a elaborate way. Okay, until then you just remember that it is a operating system plays an important role in the communication between, sometimes we need the services of other process which is currently running on the system itself. So even though how the operating system handles that kind of situations, these all things which we will discuss in the later chapters. Okay, next, error detection. So during the execution of all these processes, sometimes there might be a possibility of occurring errors, right? So if errors can occur anytime and anywhere, okay, so either by the CPU or with the input-output devices or with the memory devices. The problem may be occur with any one of these three. Okay, so how the operating system can handle all these errors is the OS constantly check for the possible errors. So generally, what kind of problem, the predefined, whatever the predefined problems are present, OS without asking the user, it continuously verifies is there any possibility of getting such kind of errors or not. Okay. And then OS takes an appropriate action to ensure correct and consistent computing. That means a simple example here I want to mention you is exception handling in your programming language. Exception handling, where we will write try and catch blocks. In the try block, usually we'll write in the try block, we will write just the what kind of problem that may be arised. Okay, and the in the catch section, we'll write all the possible solutions. Catch one, catch two, catch, like any number of catches may be associated with the try blocks, right? That means what it means, one problem may have many number of solutions, right? So depends upon the problem type, we'll try to address in a specific way. Okay, so like that, for each and every possible problem, or for each and every possible error, OS is having appropriate solutions for it. So automatically it will take the action according to the errors. And another important and major role of the operating system is resource allocation. Okay, especially in the case of multi-user or multitasking environment, resources as main memory, CPU cycles, and file storage are to be allocated to each user or job. These are the common things that are required for any process. Okay, so these all things need to be allocated to the all these processes when it starts its execution. So in this aspect, what are the major activities of the operating system with respect to this resource management is OS manages all kinds of resources using schedulers. Using schedulers. That means how much of time is allocated, your device time, how much of time is allocated for the process one. That information is it maintains. So whenever if some other process or some other thing requires the services of the IoT device, okay, so it look up the schedule scheduler where it maintains the information regarding what are the IO devices are currently in use, how much time they require to complete that particular task. This whole information is available. So whenever some new task, new process requires the services of IO device, immediately it verifies that scheduler information. Okay, based on that, it will allocate it, right? And similarly, more than one process requires the services of CPU. Okay, so that is also in the same way it was maintained. The scheduling algorithms are used for utilization, because here how best we can utilize the CPU, or how best will make busy the CPU so that it can process number of tasks so that the throughput gets increased. So in such a way, the operating system plays an important role. I mean, this is the another service provided by the operating system. Now, protection, accounting, it keeps track of which user use how much and what kinds of computer resources. So if you observe, for an every system will have users, you can create the number of users for your system, and whatever the resources that you are using, that is also be mentioned in it. So operating system will maintain the record of all these user activities in your system itself. And now last one is the protection. Protection refers to the mechanism or way of to control the access of programs. So simply, you can easily understand what I mean to say is, if you set a password to your system, what happens in that case? Those who knows your password only is able to open it. Otherwise, there is no chance. So in the movie Shivaji, there you might have observed some mouse is coming and it listens the voice of that person. Based on that, it will be opened. Sometimes a face recognition system. All your mobiles are opened with fingerprint authentication. These are all called as protection. Protection means restricting unauthorized access. Right? So, in such a way, it provides the protection. The OS ensures that all access to system resources is controlled. Suppose some of the files which you want to install in your system, you need administrative permissions, administrative user permissions. If you don't have such kind of permissions, it won't allow you to install it, right? Similarly, the OS ensures that external I/O devices are protected from invalid access attempts. Same, providing the security to the external I/O devices. Like that, it provides protection to the files which are created in your system or device resources. Instead of calling that as files, we can call it as all the resources under the control of operating system are protected. Okay, so this is about the services. What are the various services that are provided by the operating system? So in the next class, we will see the operating system structure, architectures. Okay. So hope you are all clear with this point up to now, right? Or still, if you have any queries, you can ask. If anybody is having any query, you please raise. Even I was unmute all users. If you want to speak, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question.